are at least 7 types of people that you need to stay away from. At least don't try to help them. Because helping these people may not only be a lost cause, but it may end up hurting you. My name is Christina, and I help people recognize and deal with the aftermath of emotional abuse. And if you can relate to this topic, I have a download that you'll find in the description that you may find helpful. It covers some important boundaries and some things about people pleasing you may want to take a look at. So what types of people should you never help? Let's jump into the first one. And this may seem obvious at first, but bear with me. The first type of person you should never help is the person who does not want your help. And trust me, I know that there are some of you out here who do need to hear this message. I was one of them at one point in my life too. So if you're a highly empathetic and intuitive person, you may actually be able to see the problem and the solution. So you feel like this might be an easy fix, and you feel like you would even be harming them if you didn't get involved. Like it would be mean of you to sit back and watch them struggle when they have this problem that you can help them solve. But here's the thing, not everyone wants help. Some people are so deeply rooted in their own problems that they don't even want to see their way out. And the problem with trying to help someone who clearly does not want help, maybe they've never asked for help, maybe they may have alluded to the fact that they have a problem but didn't outright ask you to help them, and maybe you've even tried to help them before and they really just aren't accepting of your help. This may sound a little harsh, but these are all signs for us to back off. And you can do so with love, because another harsh truth is that helping someone who does not want your help is very much a violation of their boundaries. So if you proceed down this route, you're going to end up feeling like you're spinning your wheels for sure, because they want to stay exactly where they are. And then you might start having bad feelings because you put in all of this effort and they don't appreciate it. And of course, they don't appreciate it because they didn't want it in the first place. So the next types of people that we're going to talk about, you should probably avoid helping whether they ask for your help or not. These are people who show major red flags that helping them is probably going to hurt yourself more than anything. So the next type of person you should avoid helping is someone with a victim mentality. This is somebody who's probably always in trouble because they don't take accountability for themselves and their own lives. So their problems are always someone else's fault, or maybe it's just luck. It's just the situation. It's just, of course, this would happen to them because bad things always happen to them. A victim mentality really prevents someone from being able to help themselves. So in order to help themselves, they have to work their way out of that victim mentality. And that's not really something that you can help them with. It's really something they need to see and take action on for themselves. So the next type of person you should never get caught helping is someone who always has all the answers. Someone who knows exactly the right thing to do all the time, but yet they seem to get into trouble anyway. It's a real head scratcher, isn't it? But we've probably all had the experience where someone asked us for our opinion or our advice, and then that person instantly shot it down, barely even let you get it out. And the problem is not with them not taking the advice. No one is obligated to take advice just because they asked for it. The problem is when that person just has that mindset always consistently that they know better than anyone else. And even if that person identifies something that you can help them with, they're going to have very set ideas about how you're going to be able to help them. And instead of feeling like you're doing something out of the goodness of your heart, you're going to feel like you're just following their orders. So the next type of person that you really can't help is someone whose actions and words are not aligned. So this type of person may ask for your help. They may make you feel like they need you, but they don't act on anything that you're helping them with. They do things to dig themselves deeper into a hole. And usually what's going on here is it's manipulation. When you help somebody with something, you're becoming more invested in them. The more you help them, the more invested you become. This is where the sunk cost fallacy comes into play. You've invested so much that it's difficult to walk away. And we also like to feel helpful. So if someone like this is making you feel like they need your help so much, even though it's not really helping, it feels good to be needed or wanted. So be careful about falling into that trap. Now, another situation where actions and words are not always aligned, and it's not necessarily manipulation, is where there might be an addiction or a toxic relationship involved. So someone might ask you for help in getting out of a toxic relationship, for example, and they may earnestly want or need your help in that moment. But as we all know, those situations are very complicated, and there's something called a trauma bond at play that is akin to addiction. And this is why we see so many people who have gotten out of abusive relationships almost immediately go back in. So if you're noticing patterns of this happening and their actions and their words are not aligned, there's a chance you may not be able to help them, or the help that you're providing is not the help that they need in that moment. So I'm definitely not saying to turn your back on someone you love who is in a situation like this, but I am saying to use your own discernment and pay attention to the patterns and pay attention to how it's affecting you too. Because in situations like this, it's easy to lose yourself in trying to save someone else. The next type of person you absolutely cannot help, or more likely should not help, is the entitled person. So someone who feels like you are obligated to help them. And I know that most of us have dealt with somebody like this before, where you're doing them a favor, but they're acting like they're doing you a favor, or they're acting like, of course, well, you have to do this for me. And usually entitled people will ask for more and more and more. And they may say thank you, and you can tell they don't really mean it, or they may not thank you at all. Because after all, it was your obligation, right? So the next type of person you can't help is someone who's not willing to help themselves. I see this play out a lot in, different types of Facebook groups. So someone will post something and explain how down and out they are, how desperate they are for food, for gas, for whatever, for rent, for money. So the people who are doing this and not willing to help themselves are pretty obvious when you know what to look for. So you might see a couple of people chime in with resources, like, you can call this person for housing, you can go to this church for clothes, and you see those comments get ignored, yet they're answering the people who are giving them money, right? They don't actually want to help themselves, they want to accept your charity, and that's all. So if you do make the mistake of helping someone like this in your personal life or online, not only can you get scammed, but you can get sucked into that trap of always being the person they go to for help, because you're giving them what they want. You're doing it for them instead of having them do it for themselves. And this can apply to so many different things. There's that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can provide the resources for them to help themselves. But if they're not willing to do that, then it really is going to show their character and their motivation. The next type of person you cannot help is the person without loyalty. And I just want to throw something else out there from personal experience. So you may know someone who shows no loyalty to anyone else, but they seem to be incredibly loyal to you. I would say be careful helping that person too, because if someone doesn't have loyalty to anyone else, the chances that their loyalty to you is going to be a lifelong thing are slim. So you might look at it this way. If I don't help them, then I will lose their loyalty. And honestly, if you feel that way, then you really shouldn't help them, because that's not a loyal friend. So if you can identify with most of these, maybe it's one person, maybe it's multiple people, there's one video that I want you to watch, and that covers the power of walking away. Not everyone can walk away, but if you can, you stand to gain a whole lot. So I'm going to put that video right here.